All right, so I have just upgraded my dog shit seats to ones that are slightly less dog shit.
Oh yeah!
What
Did
a
you
great
get
day.
Exit row? Is that what you ended with?
I don't know, but it costs $300 to just upgrade to not be in the back of the shit plane. It's really
Wait, how
nice.
much? How
That's got to be at least premium economy.
No,
That's
it's
gotta
not
be at
premium
least-
economy. It's literally, this is how low of a airfare the ESL book us on. I literally was like in the very back of the plane where all of the seats besides middle seats were taken. Those were the only ones that I could have for free. And then if I wanted to pick like preferential seating, I can look at it again right now. And that's still in economy, right? Still, it says up to 6 inches more legroom, up to, right? Preferred boarding with earlier overhead bin access and complimentary beer and wine and spirits. Otherwise, back of the plane, like up near seats like 40, and there's probably only about, I don't know, 20 seats I could have chosen from for free. And then if I had wanted to go for preferred seating as opposed to main cabin extra, which is still in the main cabin, that would have cost me $79 a ticket, which would just be like normal seating. So yeah, pretty cool. Can't even upgrade myself to a higher class if I wanted to. But you know, that's the life, Jason.
Well, at
the
least
life
your
we
flight
lead.
didn't get cancelled, Chad.
That's the life. This is the life I lead every time I travel.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, yeah.
Although my flights don't get canceled. I know Dinka's flight got like a warning for potential cancellation because it's tornado season right now. So North Texas, where Dallas is getting hit with a little bit of crazy weather.
Mate, I saw you not only being a little bit more, what's the word, promiscuous, but promiscuous with his ex. That is like a bro code no-go, bro. What the fuck's that about?
No, I reached out to Dinko about casting that event, and he's got a lot of shit going on. He's meeting up with Trace in Dallas early to do the PGA thing, and he's moving apartments. And the event was going on from like 7 p.m. His time to like it ended at like 3 a.m. So I was just like, you got some shit going on.
Why didn't you
if you want to
message
cast
me,
this, it's
Jason?
here. I don't know. Did you want to cast that?
I don't know. I don't even know what it was, but I would have at least enjoyed an invitation.
Mate, it's been a while since I've like casted an event that was like actual, like the last time we did this with this company, they did like a streamer tournament where they had like Dr. Disrespect had a team, Courage had a team, I think Nickmer had a
When are
team.
you doing this with
and
Trace?
He was supposed to, but that's when he got back from Dubai with like whatever sickness he had that laid him low for like a week. That was like in December or November last year or something like that. But this time it was like tier 2-3, North American teams. It was like Nouns and Party Astronauts. NRG dropped out last minute. They were supposed to be in it, but they couldn't work it into their schedule apparently. And then it was like 3 women's teams.
Pretty classic from No Remorse Gaming, Jason, for them to not show any remorse for dropping out.
Yeah, it was a late dropout. And then like PTR put a pug together for it, and one other team.
poker player.
Oh, Elevate. Yeah, Dirty Pete was in action. Yeah, the other day. He got like 3rd to 4th place, made it to the semifinals. Not too shabby.
What was he saying? A little bit of, I forget it, but it was a good saying.
I actually don't know.
He had a good saying. It was pretty good.
Yeah, he's a character. I miss having him around in the scene. It was cool watching him play. It was a nice little nostalgia trip. We got a reference, as always, the 2015 MLG X Games performance he had against LDLC at the time. That was fun. Trip down memory lane.
Okay.
He'll always have that. He'll always have that one map. But yeah, it was tier 2 to 3 North American Counter-Strike, and it was just like a nice reminder of how dog shit a lot of the teams and players play.
Wow.
It's like it was like a good reminder of like how far back the scene is once you start like getting down the list. Like Nouns and Party Astronauts played fine. They're still like a little bit sloppy in making mistakes. There's some skill in some of those players. Just decision making, I think, is a little bit off in certain situations. But then like after those 2 teams, like Elevate has been a team for a while. They're like the former Timberman roster that everyone hates, potentially for good reason. And They just like, it was just like rushes. Like Hawk and I were casting, and like game took like 30 minutes, because like the T side was just like literally like 10 out of 12 rounds was like 5 people dead within the first 20 seconds. It was just like so fast paced and crazy. And actually, some of the best like actual textbook Counter-Strike that was played was by FlyQuest Red, like the women's team. They actually beat Elevate in their final match in the group stage. But they actually played some like cool utility based, like throwing some fakes in there, throwing some misdirection, pulling defenses around the map, and actually had a pretty good game against Elevate. So that was cool. But
those matches didn't make it to HLTV.
No, I think they tried to, and I can't remember exactly why it didn't make it on HLTV. But yeah, that's something, if they want to keep running these events, which I think they do. They probably need to organize a way to get on HLTV to get some more viewership for the show. But I mean, it's cool. It was just like a basic thing. It was just like 2 groups of 4 teams, round robin. We covered 3 games from the group stage, one of the 2 semifinals and the grand final, and just banged out a tournament in like 7 hours.
Okay. Well, yeah, I wouldn't have stayed awake for that. So I'm glad you didn't invite me, because then I would have had to have said no. This way, I didn't
you would have had to have said no.
Yeah. Thanks, Jason. You really did me a solid there. I
got you, dog. Yanko, next time if you want in, you're more than welcome to come cast in North American Counter-Strike with me.
Yeah, you never extended the invitation to me. Wait, now I feel okay. No, I'm not.
You're welcome. You're welcome to. You're welcome to also, Chad. I would love to have you.
Just you and me will cast it, and Jason will sit this one out.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, sure.
Maybe he could play.
Actually, I would love to listen to the 2 of you. Like, your mind would explode watching this. I don't think you guys would be able to handle it. I think you would actually quit like 3 games in. I think you'd just be like, all right, I'm done.
I play Face It every day. It's sometimes like going into a mental asylum. You don't really know what you're going to get. You know, sometimes
like
it's
a box of chocolates. Yeah. You're like the Forrest Gump of Counter-Strike.
Yeah, I've turned, that
we did just do Pro League, though.
That's true. I turned the loss streak around, guys. I've turned it around for the week. What am I at for the week? It's still been a lot of losses. 17 wins, 13 losses. So turned it around. I've been playing a shitload of pugs. It's the only thing that I want to do. But I have to do other things. Like we had this meeting today, and I was going to play a pug during it, but Simon kept it short. So mad respect to Simon. He really nailed it. Yanko, you were doing the CCT, which has a first prize of 250 grand for an online tournament. These online tournaments are fucking mental, aren't they? 250 grand.
Yeah, it's a lot. The total prize pool is 500k. I believe. I need to check. Oh yeah, it is 250k. I thought it was 300k for some reason, but yeah, I mean, it's a lot. It's double what you get for, or even more than winning, an IEM. But because it's online, it counts half that for your Val ranking. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's still pretty big. Had a big game today. Liquid Astralis. Liquid managed to take them down this time. Twist had 40 kills on Inferno on the first map. He basically bailed them out on that map, and then they threw a curveball in the end with banning Ancient and getting Dust 2 as the decider, and yeah, they just trounced Astralis on Dust 2. Yeah, the bro wasn't really like... Bro is a LAN player is what I've found out.
Bro is a LAN player.
You've decided.
Okay.
Yeah. He was kind of struggling. Like, he was failing some kills, that he usually gets. I mean, even that round that you posted, Chad, like the utility from Twists. I mean, he was in dark. And sure, like, he was a little bit unfortunate with how late he got flashed. But, he needed to do more in that round as well. And there were a couple of other ones, but... yeah, just a LAN player, little bro.
I love looking at like some of these newer kids on the scene and seeing how many like Dust 2 games in total they have on their HLTV profiles, because not only are they new to like top Counter-Strike, they probably missed a lot of Dust 2. So looking at Bro, what's he played here on Dust 2? He's played Dust 2 maybe 20 times or something. So not a lot of Dust 2 on the record. It's kind of wild when you think about that. Just like a map that's been in the He was playing for a team called Portugal that has a Macedonian flag. He was playing with like Necrogenesis, Hevix, Facecrack, who's Russian, Nino, and what the fuck is this, man?
I know Nino.
The kids played some Neno. The kids played some...
He's been around the block.
Yeah, there's some weird names, yeah.
I think I've also, this game just feels like it looks so much worse online than on LAN. because you see
I
the
think you
players
just keep peeking, man.
Yeah, and when you watch it, it's like you can see they're like failing to finish the spray sometimes or get the kill. It's a lot more messier than it is on LAN.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that James or someone was on Reddit. I was reading it. I didn't go through it with a fine tooth comb or anything like that, but there was like some takeaways.
A recap of
yeah,
I saw that as
and I
well.
was looking less about the stuff that he was saying about Simple and more just the stuff he was saying about the game in general, and that was a bit of a sentiment that I play on like 40 to 60 ping on any given game, and I'm not a good player, right? Let's not beat around the bush, but I never feel comfortable standing still with an angle. I always have to be like actively taking a fight. Like the initiative in the game is what gets me going, right? I've got to be able to be moving into duels and whatnot, and I think that there's still a peaker's advantage situation going online. Maybe that's the way that they're dealing with like ping, right? But I don't know. The game definitely it still requires more tweaks, and I don't know enough about game development to to work out what the answers should be for that. But it's definitely off.
We're seeing this sort of a jiggle swing, right? That people are now doing on T side. Like if you're holding something as T where someone has to push you, like to fight you, like you're just jiggling sort of not a corner, like, but just an angle, sort of like an off angle. You're jiggling instead of just holding it, because once you catch like the shoulder of the guy, then you immediately swing on him, because it does two things. Like, first of all, you're peeking into him, but secondly, also it's kind of awkward for the guy because he will see you, like he'll see the edge of you, and then he'll start shooting. But since you're just jiggling, like he won't be able to kill you, and then you'll swing into him while his recoil is resetting, because it's very, players are not like just continuing the spray until you swing into them. Like they catch a glimpse, they like shoot a bullet or two, a couple of bullets, and then they, stop shooting because you're not on the screen anymore, right? And that's when you swing. So the recoil hasn't really reset. You're peeking into them. I saw, for example, Yabi do this a ton, on multiple maps, but it stands out on Overpass when he was short, and just it looked so easy how he punished the CT.
Hold up a second, Yanko. I read on Reddit today that you don't even know what jiggle peeking is. Do you want to?
I've never actually heard you use that word before.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to maybe come up with a definition here for everybody, Yanko, or explain yourself. I'm not sure. What you're doing right now.
Yeah,
but
what we just talk about stats on the desk. Really, that's my favorite thing, to talk about numbers on the broadcast. I think that's hella entertaining and hella fun.
He's not an ex.
Why I get
tier
paid
one,
the big bucks.
He's not an ex tier 1 pro like Maniac, Pimp, or Spunj in brackets. Can he be considered a tier 1 pro? I don't know, bro. Maybe the two names that you mentioned before that, one of them I beat in a major qualifier, and the other one I beat at a fucking major. You do the maths. I actually think the guy was being nice to me, but it's like, how can you have two names before my name who I have beaten in the qualification process or at a major, and not like, what are we doing? Like, why am I copping strays there? Like, what the fuck?
Well, at least you were considered like a pro in a way.
Okay, yeah, that's true. I did make it into that category. But, yeah.
Yeah.
Jason
People
cops
just
some
say
bullets.
whatever they want to say. Like, there's no point. There's not really too much point in talking about, like, in a post-game segment about the micro of some player, unless it's something that's glaring and that where, like, you can see that it's hurting him, and then through that hurting his team's chances to win, right? Because you're always going to have players make a good play and players make a bad play. Like, if you just focus on that, a player's going to whiff a spray. Yeah, it's going to happen. You remember Cold on Cobblestone when he whiffed like from behind on a player who was the number 1 player in the world at the time? It's like, that shit just happens. You can't blame your game, losing a game on that stuff, because the next game or the next round, he's going to have 6 spray down where he's going to get 3 kills, and you're not going to sit there and say, oh yeah, that one spray down won them the game.
Maybe you should, Yanko. Maybe that's what you've been missing. Yeah, maybe that's where you really need to take things and turn it.
It's fine. People will always complain about something. Like, you can't please everyone. That's a fact. So
yeah, but I don't
really
over it, Yanko.
I don't ever evaluate sort of myself, and when I review stuff, do it based off of comments on people on Reddit and HLTV. Like, I don't even have, I have sport mode on HLTV, you know? It's like, that's not the opinion of those people shouldn't like matter to you for your work and what you do and how can you do your job better and what are the things that you can improve on. If you need to look at Reddit comments for that, then you're in already big trouble, my friend.
Big
Chad,
trouble.
did you post a copy pasta from HLTV, or was that
No.
This is just like a stream of consciousness that you had?
Nah, not even that, mate. And some people replied to it like thinking it was an actual thought that I'd had. I just went to Grok, which is the Twitter/X AI.
Sure.
And and I asked it in fun mode, because with Grok you can select like different, like regular mode or fun mode. And I asked it why HLTV forum so insane, and the answer that it spat out was, well, it seems like the HLTV forums have become a bit of a wild frontier where users can openly discuss their passion for Counter-Strike, share their opinions, and sometimes let their emotions get the best of them. The forums have a reputation for being a bit of a chaotic place where users can express their thoughts freely, which can sometimes lead to heated discussions, misunderstandings, and, well, a bit of insanity. It's like a digital Thunderdome, that bit really got me, where two opinions enter and sometimes neither leaves unscathed. But hey, at least it's never boring. Just remember to pack your sense of humor and a thick skin when venturing into the HLTV forums and you'll be just fine. I think
that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, it is. But I think I've just decided I hate everyone and everything. I think that's probably my new outlook. I'm just going to hate everyone and everything until I become an old curmudgeon of a man sitting in a corner, rocking back and forth, waiting for the lights to go out. I think that's,
you know what you need, Chad?
What do I need, Jason?
You need a couple nights of Korean barbecue.
Man, I don't know.
And it's coming. It's coming in Dallas.
But we went to that Korean barbecue place in Dallas. Didn't we have to go to Whoop Whoop? Like, it was in the middle. I don't even know where we went to find Korean barbecue in Dallas.
I think we went to Korean barbecue 4 times last Dallas in
really?
like 1 week.
Yeah.
I think it was like 4. It was yeah. I think 4. At least 3 for sure.
That's because the matches start a bit earlier, don't they?
Yeah, that's exactly. It's why Dallas is such a fucking cool event, because we get done with the day at like 4 p.m. or some shit, or like 5 p.m. Like, we start earlier, which is fine because we're all old. But like, you know, you actually get done and have a chance to like do something and go out to dinner and go get a good meal.
Speak
and
for
it's
yourself,
going to be Korean
Jason.
barbecue again.
Yanko's not old.
Not yet.
I don't feel it yet.
I don't feel old either. I don't feel my age either.
I mean,
you're living a young, exuberant life, though, Jason.
I know it is. Esports is actually saving me from starting to mentally, you know, decline into old age thoughts.
I'm trying to find this time zone. What time zone is it? I can't find Texas.
It's Central. You are 7 hours ahead of Texas.
I think
is it like I can't find it.
What you said, Chad, reminded me of what Jerry Seinfeld said recently. I'm a very happy person hating everything throughout my life.
Okay.
Yeah,
Jerry and I have a lot of similarities. You know, like, smash hit, sitcoms.
Yeah, he was talking about like vacation. He said like with my kids, I like, you know, the 11 p.m. eating cereal, like the garbage time. Like, that's fun for him. Like, he hates vacationing. He hates going. His wife hates going with him. The kids hate going, but he still goes. And he says, because what's the difference in doing one more thing that I don't like on top of everything else? And it's like, it doesn't bother me. Like, doing things that I don't like, it doesn't bother me. I think it bothers you, but yeah.
I just think I don't do things. Like, I'm in this zone, right? I'm in this really weird zone where I've been living in Europe now since 2018, and I don't really have roots down anywhere, but I also don't want to put roots down in Europe because I have this like Peter Pan, Neverland type fantasy of moving back to Australia. But I know to live in Australia and do Counter-Strike, they don't go together. So I'm like in this twilight limbo zone where my existence is purely for the work side of things, which is great because that's also my passion and something I've loved for the better part of 20 years. Actually, it has been 20 years now because I started playing Counter-Strike when I was 14 and I'm now 34. So it has been 20 years. So it's like from that angle, everything's great. But like from the angle of my parents are getting older and my sister has had a kid and she's having another kid and I'd never get to see them just because it doesn't make any sense then it's like, so, but there you go. That's where people will be like, yeah, but you live a fucking sick life. Like, stop fucking complaining. That's it though. That's the grass is always greener, isn't it?
Well, and sometimes you need to. I mean, you just need to vent sometimes, get some shit off your chest. Complaining can be good and cathartic.
Cathartic, yes.
And that's what the whole support group network of caster talent is for.
The problem is also though, like complaining is not good. It doesn't go, Chad, with the stoic aspect, the stoic philosophy. But I fucking enjoy it so much. So that's been one of the hardest things to implement from the philosophy, or at least tone down on it, right? Because it's so nice sometimes to just complain. Even though it won't, nothing will change, it won't help anything. But just like saying it out loud, how fucking annoying it is. Somehow.
You just gotta have certain friends that you can unleash, that you can complain to, and they're just gonna sit there and let you complain, and then you get done, and you have a drink, or you have a meal, or you do whatever, and then you move on.
Time for another Talking Counter exclusive. That's just in.
It's been a minute.
9 announces new roster: Mantu, Refresh, Misuta, Rals, and Sound, a Romanian dude, with Minirox as the coach. How does 9 have a better lineup than Ents?
It is what? What?
Ents is not it, man. They need to change something.
Ents is in the bin. No one's questioning that. But like, you can't be saying 9 have a better roster than Ents. Ents are definitely no good.
I want him to play a best of 3 tomorrow. Shit, let's just
Ents versus 9.
Yes, let's put in like 10K prize pool somehow. Like someone will throw money in.
I'll put up the $300 I just spent on seats.
Yeah, I'll put probably the flight that I won't have to Dallas.
I don't give a fuck about that best of 3. I'm not giving any money for that shit.
Come on, Jason.
No,
Jason only cares about the big boys, about the big teams.
Yeah,
nouns and
party astronauts.
Oh, man. Jason, there's even... I just, like I said, Yanko, hating everyone and everything. Jason, you've got like this fan on HLTV. His name is Snipe. It's SN1PE34, right? And he's here saying like how much he hates me and how much I bash on like North American CS. You bash on North American CS more than me.
Yeah, I do.
But he's got Love Moses in the guy's name. And one of the other things is the Spunj casting Rio Grand Finals VP game that I dislike. He constantly talking to the Rush, the Observer. What, during the major grand final, you fucking dickhead? Oh, I hate everybody, man.
Dude, you have got to just delete the concept of HLTV forums and comments from your entire brain.
But what's wrong with these apes? Like, why do they dislike me? I'm not out here to make anybody's life fucking bad. I'm not here to contribute to it negatively. All I do is fucking like Counter-Strike. I work in the space. I rock up every day. I give it my best. And then I have these fucking morons who are just attacking me, calling me names, ripping me apart about the type of person I am. They don't even know the fucking type of person I am. And that's my life. And I live with that every day. Just these random fucking people on the internet talking about me. I don't even know what they look like. If they saw me in the street, they wouldn't even fucking talk to me. Like, this is the type of human beings that are out there typing shit. And it gets to me, Jason, because I'm a people pleaser. I want people to like me. I got fucked up when I was a kid. I was bullied in school. I wasn't popular. So I now have this longing need for everybody to like me. And these cunts on the internet are out here talking shit about me. And I don't even mean to upset them. Fuck, man. I'm losing it again.
Can't do anything. You can't do it, baby. Lock it in.
No. Come back to the light, Chad.
Come back to the happy place.
You can't please everyone. No one is ever.
You're with your
100% of the people will never like you. Not everyone likes Nelson Mandela, man. And look what he did.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
He ended apartheid.
Not everyone liked Mother Teresa.
Yeah.
Oh, man, come on, man. Fuck.
Not
I gotta
everyone
go on
liked...
one of my hiatuses again before my brain fucking rots.
It's all right. We're almost at the player break. We got one more event, and then we've got
but I have to do 7 podcasts a fucking week. I do 7 podcasts a week. I fucking
You do 2 podcasts. You do 2 podcasts.
I did 3 last week. I did one with Tech Girl and Thorin.
And this one doesn't even really count. You're not on camera. You can talk about whatever the fuck you want. You know, you should schedule this like in between your Face It games, you know? So you like take a break.
Unleash some aggression.
People come here and they complain that let me find this one. Let me find this fucking comment. Let me find this guy.
Chad, get out of the comment section.
I can't.
What are you doing to yourself?
I can't.
Why?
Yes, you can.
You just enjoy torturing yourself at this point. You got to get out of there. Hit the X button.
My self-loathing is like hitting an all-time high, so I'm just fueling it. I'm fueling it. It's fucking great.
Don't do that. Just start using sport mode. Trust me, it's much easier. You just look at the stuff you're interested in.
No, but this is
Have you seen that Netflix show that just that my wife made me watch it with her, the baby reindeer?
Don't fucking
No, I
do
haven't.
that as an excuse, Jason. Don't do that. Don't throw Jane under the bus here. I haven't seen it
No,
yet.
she did make me, but after the first episode, I was kind of like, this is so fucked up, and I don't really want to watch it, but I'm in. Like, I'm hooked, because like the story is just like a fucked up, crazy thing. This guy's insane. But anyways, at the end of it, he goes on a big diatribe about how he had learned to love to hate himself. And that's where you're at, Chad. You got to get out of these comment sections.
So I need
You're
to
just
love
torturing
to
yourself.
hate myself.
Yeah. And that's what you're driving home right now.
Wait. Oh yeah.
How does that
No,
work?
you don't need to do that. You should not do that. You should do the opposite of that.
Yeah, don't do it.
You should just not care.
What?
Wait,
Oh.
Jason, did you say
that's true.
that this guy went on a long diatribe about how he loves to hate himself?
Yeah, you just said your self-loathing is at an all-time high.
Yanko, I'm misunderstanding.
No, but he's saying like you shouldn't do that, right? Like
I thought he said I should.
Yeah, don't do that.
No.
No. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
No.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I already am. So like,
Yeah, what do you want from me? Do you want me to hate myself even more?
I'll hate myself more. I'll fucking hate myself so much.
after this 10.5-hour flight to Dallas, we know that's how I'm going to be feeling anyway. I'm already dreaded it.
What time do you land?
Oh, that's a good question. Let me have a look.
If we
Scott,
land
leave
in the
it like
thunderstorms.
Oh man, that's
On
one of the cool
Boeings.
things. Man, didn't the guy who was in the original Twister pass away recently?
Bill Pullman?
Is that his name?
The original Twister, was there a sequel?
I don't know.
Yeah, they made it. I think they made a sequel to Twister. Yeah, they did. It's called Twisters. Bill
No way.
I swear to God. Bill Paxton died. Wait, no,
Bill
Bill Paxton died ages ago. He died in fucking 2017.
Long gone,
man.
brother.
Yeah. Bill Pullman died too. He was Independence Day though. I had the wrong guy.
He did?
The wrong Bill. Yeah.
Wow, man.
I land.
Oh no, he's alive. No, he's alive actually. My bad.
Now we're just burying people. Wow, fucking
I land
brilliant.
at 2:25 p.m. on, I guess it's Saturday.
Oh, beautiful. I think that's pretty much when I land.
I think it's
Let's
Saturday.
go get some.
Yeah, it must be because
I
of the time.
landed
I
at
get there on
2:41. 2:41 on Saturday.
The thing that irks me
We'll
is
get some-
like, yeah,
Some Korean barbecue.
Oh,
We'll
on
get some
the-
Korean barbecue Saturday night.
on the
We'll
first
get
day.
some soju on the first day.
Okay.
We need to pick me up. This is the fun event, Chad. This event is basically vacation. This is why we love IEM
Don't say that,
Dallas, 'cause
Jason. Don't say that. We're there to watch the Counter-Strike with all the teams with their full rosters, just like G2. They're very
Spring
excited.
break 2024, Chad.
What was the year that we did actually have spring break where Blue fell in the pool?
At Pro League.
Was that 2018?
2017.
17 or 18.
That was a strong year.
17 or
was
18.
That was
it?
a great event.
Could have been
Could have
18 first season, like first half of the year 18, maybe.
What do you
Blue
think?
falling in the pool is one of my favorite esports memories.
Poor Blue, man. I hope he's doing all right. I think he's selling
Me too.
caravans now.
He is. He's selling like he's like a RV salesman, I think, something like that.
Well, it's just speaking of America, I'll try and bring it back to Counter-Strike. Blast, apparently, by sources, meant to be running the next major in
Yay.
America. Oh, well, not so yay for Yanko. But Jason, as an American, how do you feel about this news?
I think it's fucking awesome. I mean, I love the idea of a major coming back to the States. It's been 6 years since Boston was the last major in North America, and obviously it's coming hopefully at a time where the scene can obviously use a little bit of love in that sense, and coming at a time where the scene's actually going through a little bit of a healing with all like the different tournament circuits that have popped up, the complexity / Flam collaboration. That's the NA revival, and I think there was one more.
Wasn't there that USEA thing that was like an online?
I was gonna bring that up into some point. Let's get into that. Let's get into that after the major talk, because that's its own little fucking beast. But yeah, I'm pumped for the major. I wish it wasn't in Texas. But it makes sense in some ways that Austin is a city that was pitched. Austin as a city, as a location, makes a lot of sense. But I was scratching my head when I saw the announcement, because I know all the rumors that I'd heard, at least over the past couple of years, is that that most TOs were looking at pitching East Coast venues and locations for an NA major.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. Austin will be cool. It's just another event in Texas.
It's going to be a billion degrees in June in Texas, right?
Yeah. It'll be warm.
Also thunderstorms. No, isn't that the hurricanes? Because we're going there now. It's going to be like after Dallas.
Austin's far enough away. Austin's far enough away that it doesn't get wrecked by the crazy weather. Yeah, it's further south.
I asked this question on HLTV Confirmed yesterday. I'd be interested to get the opinion of you two gentlemen on this. What do you think it means for IEM Dallas, right? Because we saw what happened when there was DreamHack Las Vegas in 2017, and there was also E-League Atlanta Major, and then nobody went to the DreamHack event, which is completely understandable. Do you think like ESL don't run IEM Dallas next year because of that situation, or try to pivot elsewhere, or what?
No, I think they'll still run it. I think one of the big reasons will be because they have the whole BYOC DreamHack attached to it as well, which is a draw in its own way. So they'll still have the event, I think. And I mean, part of the reason why Dallas is a yearly staple in a location to look at in America is because it's a big population center, and it's really easy to travel to. Like, even though it's in the middle of nowhere, it's a big travel hub. I think is it the American Airlines hub essentially is the Dallas airport?
Yes.
So it has easy travel from pretty much every location in the States if people want to fly in. Driving in Texas is obviously a little bit of a beast because it's fucking huge. But it'll be fine. I think it has a lot of positives that also make Austin like a pretty attractive place for an event. Like, Austin is a younger city. It's obviously been becoming more and more of a tech hub ever since COVID, with a lot of tech companies moving there.
I hope they invite Elon.
In an adjacent space.
Joe Rogan's
there.
They
should.
Elon,
yeah, Joe Rogan's there.
Am I getting upset because I said Elon's
see
name?
if we can get Joe Rogan on the podcast around that major?
Oh yeah, I'm sure that he'd be well up for that, Jason. I'm sure that
to the collab. We will. If we have to, we'll be guests on his podcast, and then he can come on.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, for sure.
We can talk
and we can surprise him. We can get Jordan in there. He's old mates with Jordan.
We can show him the Jason Rogan podcast and see what he has to say.
Yeah, see what he thinks of the skits.
Yeah,
let's see how he thinks I did. There's a lot of connections.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd
but
love
yeah,
it.
it's cool. I think it maybe it hurts Dallas in the short term for that one event next year, just because they'll be kind of close to each other. But I think long term, I think probably ESL in some sense is saying there's a world in which having a major just down the road from Dallas and in Texas kind of increases the event and the attention on the event moving forward.
Yeah, I think the problem is like in theory, if Dallas is in the same spot next year as it is this year, there's Dallas. Then there's Star Ladder right after Dallas. And then there's a week off and the majors. So there's 2 weeks between Dallas ends and major starts, which actually, I think is kind of bad. I think it would have been better off. Imagine, you can come for IEM and then just stay for the major. Or have a week in between where you could practice. But then the problem is do multiple teams stay in NA and then you can get quality practice, or you would have to go to Europe regardless? I don't think Dallas gets as fucked as Starladder does.
Do we know? Oh yeah, Starladder's and that's a really
because you would Starladder ends and you would have 5 days and then you would go to the major.
Unless you just don't go to Dallas and you use Starladder as your practice for the major.
Well, I guess the next question is: does the RMR schedule obviously isn't there? But I'm sure there's a gap in the
I
calendar.
don't think there are.
No,
Assuming the
there's no
RMRs.
RMRs next year.
I think
Most
we're
likely,
operating
I mean.
under
That's
the
right, that's
assumption
right.
there's
Yeah,
no
yeah, I forgot
RMRs.
about that.
Like, we don't know that
Yeah.
officially, but I think that's the assumption and from what we've understood that we're leading
But
in
yeah,
that
I
direction.
think it's great that there's going to be an event in NA. You know, it's been a long time. People get wild there. The crowds are good. I don't think there's going to be any issues with filling an arena or anything like that. Hopefully, there's I would imagine Austin has a big venue, right? I don't want to go to like a 7,000-8,000 people venue for the major. I want, 10
Well, you
plus
think they're going to
thousand.
get? Oh, okay. Well, I
Right,
guess
like
the last American majors have been in theaters, right?
Well,
Yeah, but it's
Boston
been-
was in an arena. Atlanta was in a theater. That was it.
Okay.
Yeah, but Boston the arena wasn't huge, right?
No, it wasn't.
And
It
even
was
Columbus
smaller,
was
but-
only half a stadium, but okay, that was all the way back in 2016. I'm thinking,
Yeah.
especially with also, Dallas happening every year, we get 5,000 people or something like that, 4,000 or 5,000 for Dallas. I mean, the major should top that easily.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, like Austin has a location too. Like it's right by San Antonio. It's not too far away from there. It's not too far from Houston. Even Dallas. I think that ends up being like a 3.5 or a 4 hour drive. So that's not a bad trip for people to make. And I mean, you've got universities everywhere. So I mean, there's plenty of people in like the target demographic to get to the major in Austin. They do have like a big 15,000 seat venue there.
Okay.
The Moody Center.
The Moody Center. That's a good name.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's not a bad name, is
I'm
it?
curious to see what happens. I heard, and I have no. This is really like from the grapevine, rumors. Nothing. There's nothing that's valid about this other than I heard it from a pro player. Which take that as you will. That the second major of the year is like a Star Ladder major, which it could be possible because we did see the Star Ladder bloke there talking with Valve at the major. So,
Yeah,
but everybody
I heard
with Valve.
I
at the
heard
major.
something similar from someone at when we were in Copenhagen at the major as well, but
Okay.
not in any way confirmed.
Yes,
I think the most interesting part about it is, since we touched on it already, is I mean, one, without having RMRs, everything going down to the Valve ranking will be like, if you want to talk about the clusterfuck of the schedule of Dallas and then Star Ladder event and then a week off and then the major begins. Actually, I guess that's too close. There's going to be a cutoff point.
I think it'll be a month before.
With the packed schedule next year, it'll be interesting to see how teams prioritize events and travel in terms of attempting to qualify for the major.
Countries are going to play a big deal too for the cutoff, because you think about it, if we are going to the US, there are certain countries which are going to need a long lead time to be able to apply for those visas. So I feel like a month is going to be very necessary.
That was my second point.
dear.
Is the visa situation with a packed schedule is teams better be on top of this and starting to plan, like, as soon as it's confirmed that that's going to be a major. Like, you better be looking in the schedule and organize whatever 2 weeks off, probably 3 weeks, that you don't really have to travel places to try and get those visas.
Well, not just
Yeah,
teams,
okay.
but the TO as well. I mean, plan ahead and make sure, you have briefs for the teams and you provide them with the necessary paperwork so they don't have to scramble. Like, sure, if the team fucks it up or the org or something, I mean, what can you do if they were lazy? But, you should be aware of that and sort of try to get ahead of it, because that could really ruin the major. I mean, if you don't have a couple of the Russian teams there, you can't have the Chinese teams there, or at least like one of them drops out, and it's also like we've seen it happen to Nine Pandas. I mean, it's such an excruciating thing to happen when you win that's all you're playing for, really, not to mention that then also you don't get the sticker revenue, right, which maybe keeps those teams alive and keeps them going, the organization. So yeah, I think that's going to be priority, definitely, if that's the case.
But
We've had that at the other NA majors as well, right? Like, well, I know Columbus had that one where, like, didn't Threat have to stand in for Pith in Columbus? Something like that.
Fuck,
I
that was
think so.
2016. Holy shit, that's going way back.
That was a while ago.
Yeah, look, I think it's definitely good for the region. Hopefully, it helps spur some more people into playing. But I don't know if that'll be the case. It doesn't really tend to work that way. But at least it's good for the overall fans to get an opportunity to go to an event like that, considering how long it's been. Pandemic also playing an issue in that whole scenario. But yeah, I'm curious to see, obviously more details about it once we get there. But otherwise,
well, let's hope that the trophy is, maybe a different concept for the trophy would be step one.
Wouldn't you double down though? Doesn't it feel like Blast is the type of company to double down on that?
Just what do they get? How do you double down on that trophy? Do you just add extra nacho cheese onto it?
Just do
or
the
something?
same thing. Like it got so much talk. They say any publicity is good publicity, don't they, Jason?
Yeah, they
That
could
is a
hire
saying.
Stewie 2K to be on the desk, and
That could work.
Nocti, get a nice
Nifty.
little lineup over there. Nifty,
Nifty in there?
definitely. Why the fuck not?
They could get
Just
Steel,
be innovative,
definitely.
Don't be like everyone else, right? Don't use like the same old names that work for other companies as well. Come up with something original, like Jake Saki.
He's pretty good. That was a good one. He's gonna be in Dallas.
He's going to be in
Janko.
Dallas.
That's
Awesome,
really
man.
exciting.
That's great.
He'll be there. He'll be
I'm
there doing
so
some
happy.
things. Probably
Speaking
ripping off
of,
people's content and tweeting it himself. It's really good. It's a strong game. Yes, Jason.
Speaking of like visa issues causing roster problems in American events, it's not a visa issue, but it does turn out that Stewie 2K is standing in for
I
G2.
can't fucking
I
believe it.
can't talk about it. I can't believe
Yes, you
that.
can.
Believe it.
We have to. The people want to hear your thoughts on Stewie 2K standing in for Hooksy.
Yanko's
Why?
thoughts, right? Not my thoughts.
Why? Like, that's the best you could come up with. Like, you really just have given up on this season completely, have you? Like, that's just it. You're just trolling now at this point. Like, you're not even trying to find someone who really makes sense. You're just trying to be like Mimi. I mean,
Well,
is it actually
okay, if we-
confirmed?
Oh,
Because,
Yeah.
but is it confirmed that because, like,
Hooksy has a wedding.
Yanko, you're
no,
doing,
no,
you're
I know
doing your
that Hooksy
absolute
isn't
best to
playing.
not-
I was going to say like maybe Taz is going to play and Jake is just there as like an extra sub if someone can't make it or something like that.
Okay, that's potentially there, but it is Stewie 2K registered on G2 lineup for IEM Dallas, and then Stewie tweets, "Thanks G2 Esports for the chance to compete and to potentially play in front of a home crowd in Dallas. Grateful for this opportunity to be able to
All
play
right,
with
if
the
the
best
chance
player
to
in the game
compete,
and a
then
young
he's
star.
definitely playing at least the first stage. But I don't know. I just like
You've done your best to hold
I hate everything about it because, and I like Jake. I've been in his corner, and a lot of people haven't. But I don't think he's. I don't even know if I want to say he hasn't earned the chance. Like G2 shouldn't have given him the opportunity. Like, yeah, I said Jax, and then Jax replied to me, and he couldn't do it because of the roster lock. I know they were considering Amanek, which I wasn't like a massive fan of. This is my point, right? Like when you need a standing like that, when you lose your IGL, which is a massive part of it, Jax would have been ideal because he's also that guy who
Fun
sacrifices
guy.
himself for the team, right? But he's also super fun to be around. So you would have a great atmosphere in the team. I mean, we saw it. He stood in for Dupree, right? At Pro League
Vitality,
groups.
yeah.
Vitality.
Yeah,
Vitality.
like a year ago, and they walked through the group stages. So I think you get someone like that who could really like just make it a fun experience, and then you figure out the Counter-Strike, and he's going to lift everyone's spirits up, and it's going to be fun to play with him, right? I don't know what the plan is for them, who's going to in-game lead, because one of the ideas was like Taz would play and he would call. So now it has to be Nico or Nexa. I'm not sure, I don't know. I haven't talked to anyone about it, so I don't know what the plan is for them. But so then who else do you get? You can give you either get a young player who's talented, right? You give him an opportunity, someone who's like fragging out, or someone from FPL, right? The problem there is it's an inexperienced player, so you maybe don't want to do that. So then you want to go and find a sort of a experienced player who would do it in a sense, like who knows the team or something like that. And that's why Jax and Amanek were like the two options. But I feel like they could have like done better than Stewie,
Well, I mean, the Jax one is obviously unfortunate because of the roster rules of having tried to qualify for the event with a different team. So he just,
and I feel like
kind of got
like
DQ'd
you should
immediately.
have fucking ESL should have the somewhere in there. Oh, we have the what's the name like for when you can they can arbitrarily
we have the right to
decide on
enforce
give
or
give him an exemption basically, right?
Yeah,
because
if it's in good faith, yeah.
It's not like he is under contract for another team and now wants to come to this team. It's like, no, he just is supposed to stand in and he played some fucking qualifier for fun with his friends. Like, come on, man, give me a fucking break.
Yeah, I'm with you. I actually really don't like that rule and how it's played out in this situation either. But I don't really know what you could do about it. I'm sure within the Louvre agreement they could apply for some kind of an exemption. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't.
Won't the roster rule stuff though only matter where, like, next year to whatever Valve's roster rule shit is? It wouldn't having your own roster rule stuff be kind of redundant if everything is essentially not qualifiers but point earning events for the major? Shouldn't whatever the major rules are just kind of dictate how everything else should be? Or am I,
in theory? But I think that would require Valve to enforce that with TOs and for them to kind of lay that down, which is a level of hands-on I imagine they don't want to have on the scene.
But if ESL is still running their world ranking next year, what's the point? Like, isn't the only world ranking that's going to matter the Valve world ranking and nothing else?
Valve World Ranking is the only thing that'll matter for competition, I think, and I think HLTVs is going to matter just for fun and conversation.
Cosmetic, man.
Yeah. But I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, at the end of the day, the Valve World Ranking and qualifying for the major is all that's going to matter.
Yeah. So it's like, what's the point?
But I mean, I don't know how ESL is going to reconcile that with their world ranking, or how they're going to, either maybe they just say it's not like they've done a bang up job with their world ranking either, So maybe they just voluntarily give it up and say we're just going to use Valve's world ranking. I don't know.
I just don't understand the point of trying to own inventory like that. Like, what? Because if they think it's because it makes it. Like, if it was because in the beginning there wasn't a Valve world ranking, so it made it so they had something that they would be able to pick and choose off, as opposed to using HLTVs, which is fine because HLTV is a sponsored website, right? Like, it has a whole bunch of sponsors on it all the time, so they want to make sure they have something that's their own. But now it doesn't make any sense. Just get rid of it. Just use what Valve have.
I imagine it's an attempt to just another thing that can provide a little bit more importance that would make teams and players kind of prioritize the ESL circuit and the ESL rankings, and try and make sure they're still high up in those.
But I wonder how that even works next year, because I would make the bold assumption that to invite teams to your events, let's say that you have a 16-team event and 50% of the teams have to qualify and the other 50 are invited. But for it to qualify as like a Valve ranking event, you have to use the Valve World Rankings to invite those teams. So you just go down the list from 1 until you have 8 teams that you've invited to take those slots, right? But I don't know. I'm speculating. I really don't have any ideas.
Next year is going to be really interesting to see how that plays out. And I mean, maybe we start getting it teased towards the end of this year as TOs start gearing up for kind of the new philosophy of the way the scene is going to operate. But yeah, that's an interesting angle that's going to be fun to keep our eyes on.
We're essentially halfway through this year, though. You hope we find out soon.
Yeah, soonish. For me with the Stewie thing, it's like, I don't know. It does feel on some level a little bit silly, but if I just mentally try and commit myself to finding the positives to it, or any kind of benefit to it, I would say one, it probably makes sense from G2's point of view because they don't have to worry about visas and ESTAs and travel and any complication that can arise from that. So they have a player in NA. They have someone who plays, on some maps, similar roles to what Hook's like. He's going to be playing the B bomb site on Inferno with Nico on both sides of the map. He's always been a banana taker. He's always been a B defender. So you have some cohesion and some matchup there. And I think too, you have someone who likes to make plays and be aggressive and isn't going to shy away from anything. And, I think there's a certain element where it's like, yeah, he's a little bit untested. He's been out of the game. Does he still have it is obviously a big question. But you look at kind of the style of what his game was, and I think there's some things that make a little bit of sense in terms of just, grabbing Stewie of all the players to slot into the team.
But I don't understand why they're even going.
You think they would have just pulled out?
Give it to Astralis. Let a team who actually has a roster go. Like, why? If you've known for this long that you can't play, why are you going? I can't think of any good reasons.
I mean, Yeah, it would come down to timing of when they. Yeah, I mean, in
Joker
theory, if this
Steve
is a
was
wedding,
in HLTV.
and they're wedding it.
The HLTV confirmed chat yesterday, and he said they didn't have to go if they didn't want to.
Okay. Well, I know, for instance, like, and it's not exactly the same situation, but I know, for instance, after the major, there were some teams that wanted to pull out of Chengdu, and like there was a huge fine associated with it, like if they pulled out. So I don't entirely know. Maybe it's something in the Louvre agreement where they're required to go to this one.
Well,
I think the problem is also like in a world in which they would have won Chengdu and Pro League, then
into Grand Slam.
Then the Grand Slam comes into question, and then maybe the situation changes. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just really disliking some of this. I don't know, because you could have gone, like, you could have maybe taken Tatsanito or Vladan or Kios, as if we're talking about a guy who, is like the fun or whatever, a bit of a character. I understand none of these options are ideal, right? But I feel like it gives you a better chance to win. I don't know what, Amanek joined the team or something like that. Is that what I saw? Like someday,
I don't know what Amanek's
I don't know if he's available, right? And Jason is right, like Stewie does match in some of those roles and stuff, but like he's been out of it for so long where it feels like, I don't know. I just don't think it's like, I think they could have done better, right?
Look,
like, and sure, maybe I can't like give you a better name off the top of my fucking head, but that's not my fucking job, right? Like someone should have like spent days, week, like you're looking at the available players, then you're watching them play, then you're like seeing, okay, personality fit, whatever. Like that's how you do it if you're trying to do a good job, right? Like, and I don't know, maybe they talked to Jake and they really like what they heard. I have no idea what the plan is. But also this whole thing where, after Pro League, they were on vacation for Sunday. I have no problem with people having like days off, but now what's the plan for them for the remainder of the season? Like, are they just practicing now with Huxi? Because I'm not sure, they definitely can't practice with Sui, who's on the West Coast of the US. Right, so how are you preparing for this tournament? Are you at all, or are you playing with Huxi to just sort of add new things, use this just to practice and add new things, or play Dust 2 or whatever, or practice Mirage, so you're ready for the spring finals that are right after Dallas?
I think he'd practice with Huxi to get ready for spring finals.
Because what I would have done is I would have given the players like whatever 4 or 5 days maybe off. Right, but then the coach and the in-game leader need to discuss what do they need, what do they want to do, what do they need to add. Are we going to work on our map pool, change things? Dust 2 is in this and that. Then maybe even like for 2 more days, because those guys deserve some time off too. There's no team practice yet, but people need to play Counter-Strike. You need to be back. You need to be playing like 5-6 hours. Deathmatch, face it, whatever the fuck it is, FPL, and then after that you start like team practicing, because the coach and the in-game leader, they got the theory sorted out. They came up with a couple of stuff, and then you can start putting in the work. And then you practice for however many days you have, like 5 days. And maybe it's there where you focus on whatever, Dust 2 and Mirage, let's say, or it can be Dust 2 and whatever other map, they Vertigo, if they still want to fucking play that shit map. And then once you're back from Dallas, but the way it seems, you're just aiming to be back after 2 days and change your flights, and then you can go back to, practicing for spring finals and try to be like in top form for that, so you can maybe win a trophy this season, because this season has been a disaster for G2.
Well, that should be the focus, right?
It's been a fucking failure, because the manner in which they've lost some of the series, Chad, the map vetoes and whatnot. But
we love the vetoes.
You talk about, and we'll tie this now as well, they made Mouz number 1 team in the world.
Oh, here we go.
By losing to them 2 times. Like in the Chengdu series as well as the Pro League series. Like they played, no wait, they didn't play them at Pro League. Or did they? No,
they're on opposites. Oh no, they were on the same side of the bracket as Mouz.
Or did G2 lose before them?
I'm
I'll
trying to think.
Right
They played against...
No, they lost to Mouz. They lost to Mouz.
It was 2-1,
They lost to Mouz
right?
in the quarterfinal. Yeah, they beat them on the first map 13-3 on Inferno and then lost Vertigo and Nuke. But, like that's why Mouz is... G2 should have been, on paper, G2 should be beating them and they should be in that final and they should be in a position to lift trophies, but they're just not good enough to do that. They're just not... Their floor is not high enough. Right?
Well, they are missing a bit over there for sure. I like you're obviously talking big picture, Yanko, which is why it's frustrating. I think
because they got eliminated 2 times by Mouz and 1 time by Navi. Those are the teams that beat them at big tournaments, and then it was FaZe in Katowice.
But I think the thing is like Navi won the major, and Mouz have now won 2 tournaments on the trot. Obviously, both of them are studio events, but they've still won 2 events on the trot. I just think from the bigger picture, the thing that's frustrating about this pickup for one event is, for me, it's just what is the point? So then I have to change my framing because from the big picture, there is no point. It's a waste of time for everybody. It would be better if we had a team there that had a full roster that could actually be competitive. That would be much better. But now I have to change the framing in my mind. So the only framing in my mind that makes this worthwhile is if Stewie plays and they actually make it to the playoffs and then they go out on stage and everyone's chanting Stewie and we have the fucking smoke criminal nonsense again and it's fun. That's the only way that this has any payoff, because otherwise it's a waste of time for everybody. Like it just is. We go to the event, they play Falcons in the opening game, right? That would be... I don't know. I was going to say that would be an embarrassing loss. I don't know if it would be an embarrassing loss.
It wouldn't. Come on. For who?
Yeah, I don't know at that point. Sure, you're right. It's not but that very well could be a loss. And then they play against what? Monty?
Vitality or Monty.
Monty or Vitality.
So probably play against Monty, I would assume, unless everybody on Vitality is sick or jet lagged. So yeah,
but it's a best of 1. Like they could,
they definitely could lose. Yeah,
but whatever. It's like just the point being like this season has been god awful, and we've been only hearing like positivity from their camp and like good signals. People are working, which is like on one side you like that because they're giving it time, but on the other side, like maybe you should be fucking disappointed. Not disappointed, but maybe you should be. Maybe you should be changing shit. Maybe the way you're doing things is actually wrong. Maybe you need to look at that. Because it's, how we talk about teams and we talk about floor and whatnot. Their floor is not high enough. And apparently their ceiling is not high enough anymore because of guys like Hunter, Nico, struggling to like be consistent. So it's like, well, what are you then? Like now you're not coming into a tournament and thinking like G2 can win this. Yeah, maybe you say it like on the desk or wherever. Oh yeah, if Monesi, Nico, and Hunter show up at the same time, but they're not going to show up at the same time. It's just not going to happen for reasons, whatever. Like, so that can't be your win condition anymore because you're not getting it.
But like we've been here before, right? So we had this discussion last time. And we spoke about removing 2 players, and I think you even sided with the fact that they should probably remove Hunter and Nexa, and then try and build. But I think we always hit the same point with this. Like you bang on. Like the map pool for them needs to be banning Vertigo. They need to bring Mirage back in. They could have such a good map pool for the type of like just for Monesi and Nico alone, right? With Dust 2, Inferno's always a strong map for them. Mirage in there, like Anubis, they seem pretty competent on, especially on the CT sides. So you're starting to get a bit of more of a comprehensive map pool put together there. I don't know, but I just, for the context of what we're talking about with Dallas, like I said, I have to change the framing in my head and maybe just try and have some fun with it. Because otherwise, in the broader scheme of Counter-Strike, which just tends to be how I look, it doesn't mean anything.
Wait until they beat Falcons in a best of 1 and Monty beats Vitality in a best of 1 and then they're through on day 1.
Fucking beautiful.
It's obviously a sick opportunity for Stewie. Like, I mean, like, I guess that's the broader context you're looking for is like, there's no big picture benefit necessarily for G2 for Stewie. If you look at it in isolation of the player, it's
wait.
Sick opportunity to show you still got it.
But he doesn't still got it.
Well, we'll find out.
You know how old Stewie is, Chad?
27?
26.
That's close.
Like,
so you're saying he probably should still have it.
he's pretty young, like in a way, but I don't think it's necessary. It's not his age or like that. It's other things that maybe have hindered him. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, the other thing.
Remember?
Go ahead, Jason.
I was going to say, just remember too, like, I'm assuming his goal at some point is to get back into a team and back in being competitive. And I think it would be, he's in that situation where he's kind of like, because of the way he exited EG and is ending on Liquid as well, it was kind of like he was going to have to prove himself back up within the NA scene. And I think this is like a little bit of a shortcut to kind of have to skip some of that route if he has a good event. Because then you can start looking at some of the other teams that may be interested in picking you up. Someone who needs a secondary caller, someone who needs a playmaker, someone who needs aggressive player that likes to open up rounds. Like Stewie's
Where
got
does he go,
some
Jason?
skills. I mean, in a world where complexity hits some kind of a plateau, why can't he go there and replace somebody and play with Elige again?
Well, who would he replace? It would have to be Grim.
Yeah, potentially.
If we're talking about taking space on the
JT.
map, right?
I was gonna say, or Floppy. It's a
Floppy's an
different
anchor.
style of play, and they might have to. They'd have to change some things around. But I mean, why not? Like, if you think it's an upgrade, if you show some good stuff.
Well,
I mean,
he'd have to
obviously,
show
the
some
other
real good stuff.
the easier options is to point at a team like Nouns or a team like Party Astronauts and say slot into one of those guys and see if you can elevate them to someone who can start winning some games. M80, if they hit a plateau in the future, I know they're pretty comfortable with their roster at the moment, but things can change quick in this space. Like there's a couple of options available if he is able to like get some interest around him at this event.
Yeah, but the problem is,
guys.
like, I don't think it's a great situation for him to do that. Like, you're coming into G2, who's going to be without its in-game leader. Like, sure, they have great players there. Then you have to play Falcons in the first round. Like, you have to play tough teams. So what might happen is that, you just don't do well. Not just you yourself, but the team as well. And then everyone will think, it's because of Stewie, or, yeah, he definitely doesn't have it anymore, right? I'm not sure it's like a great scenario for him.
Well, isn't there a world? Couldn't you make the case that, G2 is a team that always plays under the pressure of like having to win trophies and be one of the best teams in the world? Isn't there a case to be made that with Hooksy being gone and then with this stand-in and playing with Stewie, there's no expectations around this team at the event? Like, it sounds like you two don't have any positive expectations about how this team is going to play in Dallas. So like,
or
if
after
they come
Dallas.
in and they just decide, you know what, we're going to have some very loose calling. It'll be Nico or it'll be Nexa. We're going to play mostly, we're going to make some mid-round calls and we're going to try and make some reads, but let's play loose, let's play puggy, and let's lean on these individuals. And everyone has a lot more freedom because we're not running the tactics. We don't have our in-game leader here. And let's see what happens and play the mid-rounds with the experience of Nico, of Hunter, of Stewie, of, even of Monacy at this point. Like you could just go down the list and you play a much more loose individual based and see if your stars can shine and carry you to some places. And in that sense, they have some pressure taken off of them.
I would agree that there is no pressure, but I would not but it's just like... But come on, man.
I think for a team that's been struggling,
a world in which,
I think
yes,
for a
you
team
can
that's
paint
been
that picture. And that would have been like the exact picture we would have painted with Jax, because, we know he's that guy that will just uplift everyone around him, and he's been an ex-teammate with guys on that team, so that would have been ideal. But yeah, you're hoping like to get that with Stewie as well, even though it's going to be more difficult. But yeah, that's the goal for G2. No pressure. So we're playing loose. We're fucking everyone. We're running around. We're quick scoping people. We're one digging people and all of that shit. But I just don't. I'm not sure. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Look, guys. Look, it's really simple. As the greatest Mongolian in-game leader of all time said in an interview with Dust2.India, and he was quoting Marvin Hagler. Blitz said, "The journey to the top in esports, like any sport, demands a lot of hard work and giving up comforts." Marvin Hagler once said, "It's tough to get out of bed to do road work at 5 a.m. when you've been sleeping in silk pajamas. This means as your life is too comfortable, you might not feel the push to really go after big goals. We've given up a lot to get where we are, and that's what keeps us hungry to win and keep getting better."
What a fucking legend.
Amen. Inshallah.
Do
we have to talk about G2 or Stewie anymore?
No.
We're done with that.
Like for Mouz, Mouz is number 1 ranked for the first time in history. I don't think they're the best team in the world. I think
All right, here's controversy. Give it to us, Yanko.
No, I
Give us the
just
beans,
don't
baby.
think so. I don't think you can call someone the best team in the world until they've done it on the biggest of stages. Like they've won Pro League again and BetBoom, right? Which are not
Belgrade, yeah.
like big stage, big arena events. They're not. Oh yeah, I remember how I was gonna put it. You're not the best team in the world unless you won Katowice, Cologne, or a major. Like unless you've done it at some of those stages, like the biggest of arenas. I don't know if you can put like maybe fall final in that category. I don't know if you can, like if it's that same, because
It's not going to be in Copenhagen anymore.
it's only it's only 8 teams as well. It's not 16 teams, so I don't think you can really. Unless you have that in your trophy rack, like you can't be the number one team in the world. It's the same way like last year or 2 years ago, like Heroic was ranked number one. They didn't even win a single tournament, I don't think, at the time. They were just number two at a lot of them. And, you know, a team would be number one, that they would be, you know, not make the playoffs at the next one. So they accumulated more points. But yeah, I don't think they're the best team in the world.
Okay. Well, I guess I would say in the environments that they won, they were definitely the best teams at those events, right? Like they absolutely flatlined Vitality and they absolutely dismantled Spirit in best of 5 finals and 3-0'd them. But I am with you on the sense that they haven't done it in the realms of the most prestige. And I think that people, like this is the problem that we have. There are some disparities with how things kind of line up in the Counter-Strike world at the moment, because once upon a time, the events that had the biggest prize pools tended to be the LAN events, right? Like the arena events. And now we have some weirdness with all of that because EWC has, what is it, $1 million prize for Counter-Strike. I don't know what the disparity of the split is. I'd have to have a look. You have this online competition, CCT right now, which has, we discussed it before, 500,000 all up, 250 for first prize. We just had Pro League, which is 19 seasons deep, and as everybody loves to be quoting, ESL's flagship product. I don't even know how ESL ever thought like making that type of a statement was realistically a good one. Their flagship product is fucking IEM Cologne. So let's you know that we'll tell them what their flagship product is, which had 180k but 750 all up, and then a basically participation award for everybody for coming. Here you go, guys, have some money. Then you have like, you know, the way that everything lines up is not as it once was. The biggest events with the most people who went to them in the biggest arenas with the prestige and history also used to have the most prize money, but now everything's been more higgledy-piggledy and all over the place. But I still think that I agree with the sentiment about winning the biggest events in the world to be considered the best, right? Like, because those are the most prestigious events. But then how do you factor Na'Vi into that situation with the major win, Yanko?
Yeah, they didn't do enough around it for it to, you know, for them to be number one. Obviously, I'm not, you know,
so it needs to be the body of work as well as
yes,
the win.
The body of work needs to include one of the three, right? So let's say Mouz goes on. I don't care what they do at the next 2 tournaments. They go and they win Cologne, right? Like you can say they're the number one team in the world as long as they're, you know, competitive in these other tournaments. And then you look at the last however many months and you see, okay, 2 tournament wins, a finals loss, a win in Cologne, a playoffs in wherever, and then you're like, okay, yeah, that's the best. That's better than anyone else. And there's a legit tier, you know, S tier, big arena tournament win. Hats off to these guys. They're the best team in the world. The problem is in this particular situation is like, who else can I give it to? Because there's so many other teams that are like.
What if Mouz win Dallas?
I think at that point as well, but it's more so because, you know, no one else is doing anything in the meanwhile, right? Like because who won? Spirit won Katowice, and then Na'Vi won the major, right? Like those were the 2 big ones in the first half of the year. But let's say if Spirit win Dallas, you know, especially if they beat Mouz along the way in the playoffs, I'm probably giving it to Spirit.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to argue against that criteria because I agree. Like those three events in particular are pretty big trophies to have and pretty important. But it's a kind of, I guess, a weird timing with the way the events have played out this year and who's won all of them. Because I think Mouz is playing the best Counter-Strike at the moment. Like just watching the games, I think Mouz is playing the best CS. I think their CT sides are really strong. I love the disruptive, aggressive style that's throwing teams off.
They're just playing very confident.
I just think there's still
their players are well rounded. Like, I mean, they have a great lineup. Shuey as an in-game leader is fragging out of his mind right now. Like, there's not a lot of weakness even to look at on the surface level.
I think for me it's just this. The same way currently for Astralis, there's a little bit of a difference from when they play on groups to when they play in playoffs. Right? I still think there's that little bit of a difference for Mouz when they get on that stage compared to other scenarios, right? And that's the one last thing that for me they need to do to be in that tier of teams, right? Because a lot of the players are unproven on that stage simply because they're so young, didn't have the opportunities yet. I agree with all the points. I also love watching them play. They're a great team. They play great Counter-Strike. They play as a team. Their players are ballsy. They're not playing scared. They're playing to win. That's all. It's all awesome. I'm loving it. It's just, I think you need to have an accomplishment like that. You need to have that under your belt to really get into that tier. Like, yeah, absolutely. At the moment, they're the number one ranked.
Who do you have as your number one team at the moment?
That's the problem. Like, I can't put anyone else because, they beat Vitality in Pro League, but I probably wouldn't put Vitality anyway. I would have maybe wanted to put Spirit, right? Because we just weren't able to see them, but then now they beat Spirit at Bet when they beat them 3-0. So I can't really. How can I give it to a team that they just beat? And they beat them more than once this year. So yeah, at the moment, like.
Yeah.
But you see what I'm trying to say is like.
So that's your biggest problem is it's almost like they're number one because other teams are just like omitted at the moment. Like no one's done enough to like
yeah,
really
because Navi who won the major did fuck all except for that, right? Because it was a fluke win. And then Spirit just missed a couple of tournaments, right? So we don't know. Like if Spirit was in Chengdu, what would have happened? Well, we just can't fucking know, can we? So that kind of sucks.
Or Pro League, yeah.
And FaZe, ended up losing in Pro League to Vitality, so they couldn't even they didn't even face them.
They got Zyward.
But they lost in the final of the major, and then they beat Mouz in Chengdu. So it's like probably FaZe is like the one that's like right close to them, but they just haven't done enough.
Yeah,
they haven't done as much as Mouz lately. So. We'll see.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I think, I understand what the angle you're taking. I think if Mouz wins Dallas, though, it's like you just have to put him there. Like it's not like the biggest stage, not the most prestigious, but it is an arena. It is in front of loud fans. That arena does.
I'll use the Olaf quote. They're not the number one. They're not the best team in the world, but I don't think there's anyone better.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, Jason. So tell us. Is this the revival of NACS, USEA?
Yeah, apparently they'd like to be. I don't know. It's like, I mean, I think everyone is rightfully skeptical about it just because of, I mean, it is kind of like $350,000 materializing out of thin air. And it's kind of weird. They did this exclusive interview with Dust2 US. It's a good interview. But like, even in that, it's like they almost couldn't give the information that everyone needed to feel better about it. Like they were very cagey and hiding certain, like which sponsors and partners they've signed to be part of the league. They say they're like really big companies and really big entities that are going to be part of it. So I'm remaining cautiously optimistic / skeptical of the whole thing. But I mean, more than anything, it's like the format just sucks. Like,
well,
I
think for what it is probably okay. Like,
well, yeah, but that's the other issue.
Well, you played that format, didn't you, Jason?
Yeah, and I think I say the format sucks for like a professional competition, which I don't think they're entirely gearing it for. They said a number of times they want this to be accessible to like every player in the world. They're basically trying to like kind of recreate
in the United States
Cal leagues where you come in. Yeah. And so like there's a couple contradictions with the rules that like I really can't wrap my head around. It's a very weird angle to take where they only want American players or people outside of America have to be in America. Like Canadians would have to play the entire 8-week league from a location in the States. So like right out of the gate, you've pretty much said, Liquid can't compete, Complexity can't compete. Like M80 can't compete. They don't want Central American players either. I think
some Mouz live.
Who's that?
I don't know.
I'm not sure where he lives
in the US.
But and I mean, they even have a couple other Europeans after that fact who I think are all based in the US. I don't know for how long term. But also like the idea that you'd have to be in the States for 8 weeks straight to play in this league and not going to any other competition throughout that time is like that just doesn't work. So you've pretty much like taken all the big names of North American orgs and teams out of the ability to compete in this, which seems weird. But also like, some things like saying, this is a long interview with a lot of text, so I'm not going to be able to find it. Something along the lines, I'll paraphrase it, of like not wanting to like bite off more than they can chew and not wanting to like be like too much too fast. But then you've announced a $350,000 prize pool. Like that's a lot of money to throw in right out of the gate. And I guess maybe you need the headlines for marketing purposes. But I mean, like if you're trying not to bite more than you can chew, you've kind of said we want to have an 8-week league of unlimited number of online signups, $350,000 prize pool. They want to have it in a big arena. They've said they'd rather have empty seats than have people who can't actually get tickets who want to come to the event.
Do we know
so like
anybody
everything is like.
Who's doing do you know any of the names behind this? Are their names out there? Are these complete nobodies?
No, so these guys just like played CS casually, it reads in this interview. One of the guys used to play and compete at like lower levels in Cal. So
it's just a bunch of ideals that they're trying to put into a tournament circuit that they've gotten money from somewhere. But it sounds like they have absolutely no idea about the way these things should function. And I guess it also depends on what the service is. Is the service for upper echelons of American Counter-Strike? Or is it just for everybody?
No, it's for the everyman. But I'm assuming that would have to change if they want this league to continue growing and be bigger. You're going to have to find ways to get the bigger teams and brands involved.
Well, I don't know because the bigger brands already eat, right? Like, don't the bigger brands already have shit going on? That's half the problem is they're never in America because they're off.
I mean, I guess so. I mean, I think the most interesting part about this to some degree is they're obviously trying to do something new and maybe they find some success by taking an angle and a path that no one else has done. Maybe they show a way that things can be done that other people can build off of and assimilate into their own product. But it's just like they've kind of mentioned they're partnering or they're just talking to a tournament organizer to be able to like do all the operational side of things for the league itself in terms of setting up. That's what I think, because it also said like it required like a Faceit verified profile to be part of the league. So maybe there's that, but they can't even announce the name of it quite yet, so I don't know. And then you also have, I don't know. There's a lot of weird things in it that I'm still curious about. So like, I guess the answer to your question is nobody really knows if this is going to help or hurt quite yet. They've got 10 employees from this interview, including the 2 executives and including the 2 main co-founders. They've signed a contract that says they have to proceeds for the season 1 would be handled solely by my private equity group, which I'm prepared to do. A large portion of that will most likely has already been mitigated by corporate sponsorship, secured several large corporate sponsors. So he's already signed a contract that basically said the money is there, and can ready to be paid out for the first season. It's just like, this is all just like really, really come out of nowhere. Like I think that there was this brand didn't really even have like any kind of presence or publicity online until the beginning of May.
Yeah.
So like this is all just happening very fast, which I think is relatively worrying. But that's my thing is like it feels like they haven't had conversations with anyone of saying like if you're trying to not bite off more than you can chew, like why are you announcing a $350,000 tournament like right out of the gate? Why don't you like kind of chill with season one, do it slow, execute any idea you want?
I also don't get the point of
see how things run.
Just run like I think the thing that is good is the cash cup situation, right? I don't know how it works on the ground level. But I think just having like weekend-based cups with money on the line, because that seems to be the biggest thing. I was talking to Axt a little bit when he was there with the boss guys for EPL, and
even those have disappeared now.
The cash cups are gone.
Yeah, they're no longer cash cups.
Wow, grim.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I mean. It's interesting. I don't know, but they have like and they do and I guess like this is where it's like the format's kind of weird because they're doing the old Cal thing of like week 1 is this map, week 2 is this map. They're not actually there's no veto process to it. This is an area where I kind of agree with them on. It's actually helpful for like new teams and newer players and players who aren't ultra competitive to be able to just focus on one map for a week straight.
Yeah.
And there is some value in that. It's one of the areas I agree with, but it is just kind of, it's strange to see it.
And that's why Overpass is in there because they have 8 weeks. So they need 8 weeks, maps,
yeah.
You know, the same way while like we had season at USEA back in the day, which was only kind of played there and that was it. But yeah, I think probably when they announce who they're partnering with as the TO, and when they announce a couple of sponsors, then you will know like if they're legit or not. Because if they come out and they're doing it with like, I don't know, PGL or Esports Engine or I don't know who, right, as the tournament organizer, and then you have Arby's or Subway and like a couple of other companies in there as sponsors, you're going to be like, well, okay, these are legitimate companies and this is legitimate TO, right? Unless this is some master scam where the dude is just faking every single little thing to string people along for 8 weeks. But I don't think that would be the case at that time. And, you know, yeah, maybe the 350K is excessive if this is just your marketing tool for future seasons, but you know, God knows who they talk to. I think people are just skeptical because no one from the industry has an idea who these people are, right? Like from esports, because they're not from esports. They're just business people, you know, who played CS 15 years ago and 20 years ago or whatever and have a passion. And like now they think that maybe it's a good business to get to. And I think you see that more and more.
When has anyone thought this is a good business to be a part of?
Why not?
No one's making money.
I'm not
How
so
are these
sure.
guys going to make money?
It's also because, you know, you're thinking maybe as, okay, I want to build a company to organize tournaments and profit from organizing tournaments. For some other people, it's like more of a bigger picture thing. The horizon is longer. Perhaps it's, you know, just having a footing in esports or in tournament organizing to then show to someone later on or to make it a part of your portfolio or whatever it is, right? To show how, hey, we have this thing, we've been doing it for a while, you know, for some bigger project that maybe is around the corner that we perhaps don't know about, but someone else knows about, right? Like it's not all about, you know, I don't think their goal is to become a player in the tournament organizing scene in Counter-Strike. You know, I think it's probably something else. But yeah, I think it's interesting. Definitely. I think it's, you know, as long as it turns out to be a legit thing and it's run properly, I think it's great for the NA scene because they get, you know, one more thing that they can play for and they get something that's recurring every week. And that there's going to be hopefully or allegedly more seasons down the line. So you have something to look forward to and something to build a team for in a way. So I'm not really surprised that, you know, I don't think it's a scam just because no one has heard of the guy and they're not like in esports, you know. I think it might be genuine interest for them and a genuine project, and it's just about, you know, are they going to be able to execute it properly? Are they going to associate themselves with the right people, or someone is maybe selling them fool's gold. Like, I don't know.
I mean, you also see, for me, it's like you see an announcement at a headline of $350K prize pool for an event that you've never heard of, a brand you've never heard of, for people who don't even have everything kind of set up yet, and you're just like, okay, this is too good to be true. Like, that's the first thought that goes into my head, and we all know if it's too good to be true, it ain't. So I mean, there's going to be skepticism about it.
Yeah, but you can get guarantees. I mean, for that sort of a thing.
Yeah.
Right. I know, for example, when a team was supposed to sign for an org and they never heard of the org and they weren't sure like about the money. I mean, there was money in an escrow account, that was guaranteeing them whatever, whether it was salaries or the next 6 months of salaries or a year of salaries. Like, I don't know, right? And it was all confirmed by the lawyer of the team and all that stuff. So, if you really wanted to, I'm not saying that here, any team it's also mostly for amateurs. So it's like, you're just going to be happy that you're playing something.
Yeah, I think there's just an abrasive quality to it because it's changing. It's like targeting. It's something that we haven't seen TOs do, is come in and not really target like the professional level. And they've said that specifically in the interview, that they're not like specifically trying to get all the top dogs.
Which is also surprising. But that tells you, like, that's like people who don't come from esports, but let's assume that they are, for the sake of the argument, are successful at just running businesses or developing businesses or that kind of a thing. Because I was wondering, okay, if you're doing that, how the fuck did you sell, 400,000 worth of sponsorships? Because he's saying like they're pretty much breaking even already with the sponsorships that they've secured, right? Like, what are you selling to them? But that's obviously a skill that, we don't possess and that people know to, they know how to pitch it, what you're selling on down the line, you're going to get in now, whatever it is, right? Like, but I don't think that's impossible, just because I think actually the problem with esports or with TOs is that you just have a lot of people who are incompetent of doing exactly that. They're selling the wrong things. They don't know how to sell things, right? Because how many times do we come somewhere and we have like a sponsor segment and we're like, this could be so much better. Like with almost no extra effort, for anyone, this could just have been thought out a little bit better, planned a little bit better, and there would be, the sponsor would be a lot happier, and then, obviously down the line, he would see more worth, and you would be able to get more for the sponsorship.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know this guy, and I haven't looked into it at all. But if you just taking what he said in the interview,
use your contacts.
Yeah, I know. I need to. He's
ask your uncle. He's
originally from Milwaukee. So,
Jason, this could be it for you. You could become the commissioner.
Yeah.
Ooh, now that's an idea. That's a cool title.
You've never had that title before. Oh, actually,
I haven't. Uber's had it.
Yeah. Who was the Worms Pro League commissioner?
That was Uber.
Oh,
we had the Worms.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, I disclicked.
Yep. Yeah. But I mean, he's said he's an entrepreneur. He did a startup a while back for like an e-commerce and product development company. He's got his own private equity fund that he's built.
Sounds like a cool guy, Jason. Maybe you'd want to be friends with him before you're calling him out as a scammer.
I haven't called him out yet. No, but like, I mean, like that is kind of like, maybe he has that experience of being able to like, speak the language. It's one thing that like Anders has talked to me a bunch about when he started his company. And he's just like, when you get into like these conversations with like investment groups and companies and trying to sign partnerships, he's like, there's almost a different language that's used, like different terminology, different language, and like a different kind of conversational style.
Almost as if the people go to school for that shit.
Yeah.
Not saying that you need to, but
But I mean, look, I think it's interesting at the very least. And they've kind of targeted and said they want to try and have the last event of 2024. They want to target Q3 for the league, Q4 for the final event. So I mean, like you said, Chad, we're almost halfway through the year. We're coming up on Q3. So I imagine some of these details are going to be coming out within the next month or so, and we'll just have to play it by ear.
Damn straight, Jason.
Jason.
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead, Chad. Go ahead.
No, this is fine. I just wanted moral arbiter Jason, the Prophet O'Toole, to tell me what he thinks about Flamie saying that he lost $4 million on cases and roulettes.
Oh, for fuck's sake, that made me sick, dude. That made me fucking sick.
Do you think it's real?
That can't be
Am I the only one that actually thinks there's no way Flamie made $4 million in his career?
Well, this is the thing. Is it $4 million US? And this is also just tweets.
Dollars.
And did this come from a stream? Like, where did this come from? All I did was see this on Reddit, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
I don't know, but I don't think there's any way he made 4 mil.
I haven't read the actual interview it's from. Yeah, 4 mil seems like a lot.
It's from an interview?
I think so.
Flamie did an interview. All right.
I could be wrong. I haven't looked into it. I'm like you. I just saw like kind of like the headline and the graphic with the quote on it.
Yeah, well,
I hope it's not fucking true.
CES Twitter account, Jason. That's one of the most reputable news sources we have going around these days.
Vastly reputable. I hope it's not fucking true. I hope for everyone's sake it's not fucking true.
You got to wonder how.
Because he was in Navi from 2015 April to 2021, right? And we didn't have a major in 2021. He wasn't there for the Stockholm major, so no.
But the
so
online one, right? The one where they got stickers, but we never had it for Rio. Wasn't there stickers for that?
Yeah, but I don't think that was as much.
They weren't anything crazy,
yeah,
as far as I remember.
Okay. So
I mean, I guess the only way I can imagine him doing that is if he had like some kind of like gambling or skin sponsorship. But I never watched any of his streams or any of his content or anything, so I don't know if he was involved in that side of things. But that's the only thing I can think of because those companies pay fucking big bucks.
Yeah, I don't know.
That would have to be massive
to
big bucks.
Like I can see him making like between 1.5 and 2. But that would also have to mean that he was paid like a high salary, which I don't think Navi was really doing. You know, like even that sounds kind of high to me. But then on the other side, you know, it's like 6 years of being on that lineup times 12. That's 72 salaries. You know, if he was paid 10K, which he wasn't at the start for sure, but still, you know, that's 700K just from salary alone. So, who knows?
I'm just curious though. Like, it's so crazy to think. Cases and roulettes were getting popular, and I was a gambling addict. Is this like? It's fucking insane, Chad, but, man.
You know, you have fucking NBA players, NFL players who go bankrupt, right? There's like people who made tens of millions of dollars, right? Or DMX going back. Well, he had 72 children or some bullshit, so I get it.
So that would make sense.
But
like, what's going on?
Mike Tyson didn't Mike Tyson also go bankrupt at some point?
Yeah,
you know, like people do dumb
Wesley
shit,
Snipes?
man.
I think Wesley Snipes
by the time
in tax
he didn't go bankrupt. He went to jail for tax evasion.
By the time he was avoiding bankruptcy illegally.
By the time they had been retired for 2 years, 78% of former NFL players have gone bankrupt or under financial stress.
Fucking hell.
Within 5 years of retirement, an estimated 60% of former NBA players.
Jesus Christ, bro.
That's insane.
That's because they just try to take care of everyone. You know, they're giving salary to their friends and shit.
Yeah. And not there's no financial literacy as well.
But that to me is crazy. Is that because of like the pipeline? Is this because of people not work? And I know I sound like a boomer right now, and I apologize. But is it because people didn't have traditional jobs and don't have like the same value for money as like people who would have had a traditional job would have? Because the type of money we're talking about is stupid money.
No, but it's weird because, you know, their parents are usually blue-collar workers, right?
So they should have an understanding.
Right, but then it's just, you've never had money, you've never been around like money, and then you don't really know how to behave. So then they go and buy 5 cars, 4 houses, you know, shit that they don't need because they think that's what like rich people are supposed to do, or, you know, or you're making up for all the years that you didn't have any money, right? It's just dumb decisions.
Buy that $600,000 dream car, buy a house that's bigger
so
than
crazy,
you need,
man.
Give some money out to friends and family. Yeah, it's just a matter of financial literacy. I mean, dude, like that's a whole different level. I mean, you get signed to an NFL or NBA team and you're thrust into a whole different limelight that we couldn't even comprehend. Like, we have a very small sense of it with esports, but like, I mean, I know I remember hearing all the stories of like I've heard stories over the years of like the NBA like rookie training camp where there's just like women out front who are like trying to solicit like the rookies and the new players who just signed the big contract and everything and trying to like get in with them. I mean, like, you just have a different scale of like people coming after you for having money, success, and fame, and that I can only imagine how over fucking whelming that is.
Yeah, wild.
I think.
Do we want to chat about Liquid at all? The potentially minus cadian play, their performance making it to the finals.
Oh yeah, we released the episode when like
the
right
day,
before the news broke. Yeah. Well,
do you think there any results they have between now and the end of the season change the rumors?
I think so. I want to believe so, because if not, then fuck them. Because like for me, I think I don't know if the rumor itself or like the report is blown out of proportion, but if I'm not mistaken, what it says is that, you know, nothing is decided yet, and that it will only be decided after Dallas, right? Which means, in theory, the things could happen between then or during CCT and Dallas that could, you know, change it so that there's no moves, right? Because this is what bothers me, is like the story is like, you know, they're unhappy with cadian. He does too much micromanaging, you know, of the players or of the team or whatever. So it's like, first of all, cadian seems like a mature enough guy, you know, to be aware that, okay, different team, different players, I can't like lead or call exactly the same as I did in Heroic. I would be, you know, surprised if that was his expectation, or if he would come in and people were like giving him suggestions, he would be like, no, it's either going to be my way or the highway, right? Like that doesn't sound to me like something a sensible person would do. Like you would try to make certain adjustments to make it work. And the second thing is, who the fuck wants to micromanage his players like to that extent, right? Like, aren't you more happy when your players take initiative on their own, when they're self-sustaining, right? Like make their own decisions in the mid-round. You don't need to tell them, hey, peak now or go now or do this, right? Like that allows you to focus more on your own game, right? It allows you to focus on some other things, right? Whether it's, you know, thinking about the next call, about the next read, right? Like they're taking some of that pressure off of your shoulders with their decision-making and their initiative. So it's, to me, it sounds a little bit counterintuitive that like you would really push, you know, that cadian really wants to tell to Yekindar or Twists or, okay, now swing, you know, push now or do this now. It's like, you know, those players can make those calls on their own.
Yeah, I mean, I think importantly too, that was always a conversation he had in Heroic when they were kind of in the early days and on the rise. Was he emphasized in so many interviews of like these guys need to like find their voice and learn to take initiative and learn to like speak up and make calls and make decisions when you know when they have an opportunity to do something, to have an impact in the game. So yeah, I don't know. I to answer your question, I don't think there's room for repair recovery. Just because if your issue is finding like a middle ground with an in-game leader who's either not calling the way you want to call or not running strats that benefit the rest of the team. If there's like that level of a discrepancy, like that can't really be fixed. I don't think it like in amongst like 2 weeks of event play of like, you know, in the 2 weeks you're playing CCT and then traveling to Dallas, like there's not enough time to actually adapt and change that. So I can't imagine that it would like I'm going into Dallas with the expectation it's the last time we'll see cadian in a liquid jersey. Just because I don't see a world in which they reconcile the issues they would have. I feel like there would be a path. I just don't think there is time for it.
So why do you think that? Like,
so Yanko, I'm in a predicament right here where from my understanding and the information that I have, and I don't want to sit here and say anything to do with it, because then people, I can't. It's not my place. But from what I understand, it's not going very well over there. So I don't think that they can repair it, but also I don't think there are any options out of it if they get rid of cadian, because they need to get an AWPer and an in-game leader. So yeah. I think it's fucked regardless. And that they should probably just blow it up. But I think.
But you see, that's why that's for me the worst fucking option. That's why I hate it, because you made this team with 5 players from different spots almost, right? Just the Kinder and Naf are already there, you know. And then you've released all these videos and had all these team talks about team building, and it's taking time and it's being a long-term project. And now you're giving up at the first hurdle. You know, isn't
Well, it
that the
depends-
whole
depends.
point of trusting the project, that like people will manage to find middle ground, that you will be able to fix it, that this guy needs to give a little bit, you make a compromise or whatnot? Because
Yes, I think you're right, and the answer is yes. But I think it kind of teases the fact that this isn't a hurdle. This is a brick.
Because,
wall.
dude, this reminds me of fucking teams 7 years ago, right? Where players want a change, they want this guy or whatever, and then after 2 months, 3 months, oh yeah, let's just, I don't like how this guy is calling, let's just get rid of him. You know?
Yeah,
but
I mean,
then
I
don't
think it would have to be more than that.
Exactly.
What?
Like that would be the next assumption that there's something deeper than the calling. That would be my next thought if this change is actually going to happen. That we don't know about.
Or that we do know about, but we're not at liberty to say.
Yeah,
I don't know
or
about
that.
shit. So maybe I'm just like losing my mind here, and you two motherfuckers know exactly what's going on, and I'm just not in the loop. And then now I'm like flipping out at all this bullshit, because you are also right. It's like, okay, then, so if you're Liquid as the org, what makes the most sense for you? Okay, you're going to bench Cadian, right? Try to pawn him off to someone, and now you need an Opper, all right? Is there an Opper in-game leader available on the market?
Nope.
Fallen. No. Hell no. Hell no. But
the
answer
Yanko
is
just
the
saved
only-
my day. I was
the
hating
only
my
other-
day, but now my day is really good.
yeah, the answer
The only
is
other
no.
one I could think of, I don't think he's on the market, but isn't the 3D Max guy, Maka or whatever, isn't he op IGL?
He used to be IGL. I think Lucky is in this team. But yeah, I mean, sure, like he's even like a decent player, but is he really the piece that's going to get you to trophies? No. So what do you need to do then? You need to get a sick hopper, and someone else has to in-game lead. It can't be a Kinder, because we've seen he can't fucking do it. So what? Twist is gonna do it? Like, he's the only player who could possibly do it, because Naf and Skulls, obviously, Skulls especially, but Naf isn't a super vocal guy, right? In that sense of the word, and that's fine. You can't have 5 extra vocal guys on your team. So is that the solution? Twist to IGL and get an Opper. Get Nikotas in there.
No, I mean, I think this is the quandary that Liquid's in right now. Is let's just
They got a
assume for the
shit
moment
sandwich on there.
You know
Yeah,
that
they
you
really
know
do.
that Skulls ain't complaining about shit. He's just there. I'm just here so I don't get fined. Like he's just there
Yeah.
trying his best to keep his spot on the team and get adjusted and all of that. So you're left with Nafi, Kindar, and Twists, right? As the 3 guys who could have issues and bring those issues up.
Well, let's just do this as like an exercise just to see the path forward, because like let's just operate under the assumption that it's minus Cadian happens after Dallas.
Yeah,
Like,
then
he's
they
just
have to
gone-
blow
going
up the
into
whole
play rate.
team.
But here's the hard part.
Yeah,
is,
Chad,
like,
but that's not like you say that they spend a ton of money to bring some of these guys in.
Money's not
Right?
real,
They already-
Yanko.
they
It's based
failed
on
with the
nothing. There's no more gold. It's just what we printed on Yanko. The economy's a sham. It's all a sham.
Cue Dust playing disc golf with you.
But what do you do next? Like what is the next path for Liquid? You remove Katie and you have to get an op and an IGL all of a sudden. So you have like, I guess the options would be, in my mind, would
MSL.
be-
I know he retired.
fucking stop.
I need some more, Yanko. Give me some more.
You'd have to get an opera in, right? And if you get the opera in, you'd have to either give the leadership back to Yakinder on a short-term basis while you figure out the in-game leadership,
Until
or,
you
like
find a
said,
replacement for him.
I don't even think Twist IGL is actually even a realistic option, to be honest with you. It's Yakinder or not. Or you go the other route and you
Why
get
is Twist
an
not a
in-game
realistic
leader
option?
as an IGL.
Why is he not a realistic
You-
option? I don't think he should do it at his age. But why is it not a realistic
Exactly.
option? Okay, yeah, but you're saying it's not
You
a
just
realistic
outlined it.
option. You're saying it's not a realistic option. I'm saying why I think it shouldn't happen. They're two different things.
Okay, that's fair. It's a realistic option. I think it would be the worst. I think of the two, if you're going to give it to Yakinder or Twist, Twist is the worst person to give the IGL who's had no experience.
Mate, put Twist over there on G2 with fucking Nico, Monacy, Hooksy, and get someone else good. Do that. Save Twist. Get him out of there.
All right. Well, okay. Well, this is a realm of.
I'm
this
still
is a
waiting
realm
for
of
your
insanity
players,
now that we're
Jason.
going
I'm
down.
still waiting for the players.
No, I mean, I don't know who the players would be, but I'm just like looking at this as an option. Is like you either go the near impossible route of finding an op IGL to replace cadian. You pick up an opper, let you Kinder in-game lead, and you go from there, and you have to kind of like quasi rebuild and find people to fit into those two roles. Or you go the other route and you find the IGL and you have the interim opper on the team. You pick someone who would probably end up being Naf, if I'm honest with you, because he's done it in the past. And you try and find an IGL. But then the next issue altogether is if you're Liquid as an organization, you want to keep 3 Americas players. So you have to have Skulls, Twists, and Naf because you want to stay in the Americas region. You want to be competing in the Americas region for the Shanghai Major.
Yeah, that's
what
true.
about
there's one option that you didn't mention, which is remove cadian and Yakindar and bring an in-game leader and an opera.
Right.
Or hear me out. It's crazy. Remove cadian, Yakinda, and Skulls. Only keep Naf and Twist. Buy Nerds, Shush, and Kixen, and don't have an Orpa.
And play in Europe.
What?
Yes. Who gives a fuck, Jason, about like protecting that spot? Actually, Liquid does. You're right.
Yeah, I was like, that's a big piece of the puzzle.
That's the only piece of the puzzle we can. No, but my version was a troll. Here's what I really think they should do: get a nuke, blow the team up. Naf goes to Complexity. He replaced Floppy. That's fucking great. That's a massive. That's huge. That's fucking amazing. Send Twist to wherever he wants to go. G2, Vitality. He can go to either of those places. Just send him off. With these, he can go. Yakinda, I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Back to VP as a sub.
Yeah, why not? He can go there.
You can in-game lead the academy team.
There you go.
What does Liquid get out of all this as an organization?
I don't care. They've had.
Let him finish. Let my man cook.
They've had enough time. cadian's screwed. He's going to have to get like an amalgamation of Sashi and Gaming Gladiators and see what kind of mutant he can make. What else we got here? And then that's only going to leave us with Skulls. I don't know. Fucking Skulls can go play for Pain or some shit. There you go. That's what we should do. Zeus can go coach some Brazilian team. Blow it all up. It's done. I'm calling it. I'm throwing in the towel.
Okay.
All right, Jason. Who do they get?
Dude, I don't know. I think it's a really fucking hard spot to be in. I think if I'm Joe Steve and I'm GMing that team, and you lose cadian, I think you prioritize getting an in-game leader over an opper for the moment, and then you look at rebuilding in the player break and bringing in an opper, and I don't even know, man. Right. Like, because
what about this?
Here we go.
Like
you pawn off Twist and Yakindar, and you bring 2 players to replace them, and you give the keys to the kingdom to cadian.
Okay, so you're keeping Naf, cadian, and Skulls.
Yeah, and let's say, okay, you need 1 NA player because you want it to be NA.
Well, you could get a Brazilian player, right?
Yeah,
but you already have your passive players, so you need 2 aggressive riflers.
Yeah. So you sell out for Insani.
And Nerds.
What about Queserado? Give that one more shot.
We just said we need an aggressive rifler. We don't need someone who's last alive every round, Jason. We already have 2 of those guys. And we have an Orpa, so we might have 3.
What if you swap out Skulls for Queserado?
Well, that's what they wanted in the beginning.
Yeah. But I mean, surely at this point, Queserado's like,
you'll never understand.
I was wrong. Get me the fuck out.
You'll never understand.
My bad. Give him a big mea culpa. I'll give you a discount on the salary. Just get me out of this fucking hellhole of Furia.
You'll never understand, Jason.
I know. Yeah, I think we've kind of just outlined all the ways in which Liquid is in a fucked situation.
Did we solve it? Did we solve world peace?
I don't think we solved anything, as usual.
We'll see. So I mean, you guys are very adamant that he's out and that's it. I'm hoping that doesn't have to be the case for them, that they can turn it around, but maybe it's just wishful thinking. Usually I'm the pessimistic one, and I'm saying
no, well, I guess, I mean, you've been watching the games a little bit more closely at CCT probably than I definitely have. I don't have no idea. Maybe
he doesn't even know what a jiggle peak is, Jason. What are you talking about?
I guess that's a good point. He has a lot to learn. This fucking young, inexperienced, not former pro player. What is this like dead team vibes that they're playing this well, or is this kind of like they actually look like they're putting shit together?
I mean, it doesn't look like a dead team. It looks similar to what they've been doing, just a little bit better. Players are doing a little bit better individually, but there's not like memeing around, throwing, like doing dumb shit, even as a team doing that shit. Like, I'm not seeing any of that.
Cadian did let himself get knifed on Inferno.
That was kind of funny.
It was on the
that
knife
was before.
round. Yeah.
There was no knife round. That was just they just executed the wrong script. So it was like a knife round, even though obviously the other team picks the side. So they just memed around it like until they.
It's good that we can. It's good that they can all laugh.
All right. Last thing. Do we believe in any of this fucking bullshit about Spirit? Like that they're thinking about getting Perfecto over Zontix?
Not in a heartbeat.
No.
Not even for a millisecond.
Not even a little bit. I haven't even paid attention to any of it. I've seen it, but I haven't even in my brain tried to justify it.
Hello, Yanko?
Hi.
Can you hear us? He was lagging a little bit earlier. Maybe he's having
he was lagging a little bit earlier.
Yeah. Hello?
All right, I'm back.
Hi.
Yeah.
You've just been lagging a little bit,
Yeah, the hotel internet, not the best of the best. Did you hear me what I said?
Where are you? You're in Bulgaria right now,
yes,
right?
Bulgaria.
You were asking about if we believed the situation with Spirit, and we said no, we don't even for a second, not even a millisecond.
That would be really stupid. That would be a downgrade, kinda.
It would be wild considering the age of Zontix and the potential that he's already shown, and how early he's on in his professional career to replace him for Perfecto, who is obviously a very good player, sure, but I think that Zontix can be a very good player in the future. Just needs
plus
more reps
Perfecto minus Nexa. Is that the play?
It doesn't even make sense of in the timing of this team. Like they've been on the rise. They won Katowice. Everything's been positive. They're contending for best team in the world. And then why would you consider
people just want blood
change?
all the time, Jason?
They haven't even suffered any real devastating losses. Like the Mouz win was convincing and comprehensive, but it's not like they came into that event we're using this as a trial, didn't they? Didn't Zontix say that in an interview?
Wait, they're using what?
The BetBoom event was I'm trying to find it.
Well, it was the first event with Dust 2 in the map pool. And it was their first official in 2 months since the major.
I swear I read an interview where one of them was saying that the BetBoom event was getting them back into shape.
For sure, I would imagine so. They hadn't played officials in 2 months.
But in that sense, the Mouz loss, it can't really be that devastating. It wasn't some big stage or anything like that. I don't even understand who put out the Spirit rumors of a roster change.
I think it was some Jonas guy. I don't even know who. Not Gunderson.
Oh yeah, Jonas. Yeah.
Apparently, Gunderson's over there at IESF now.
Of course.
But I want to ask a question right now because the player break's not that far away. It's just over a month until the player break, maybe just under a month, something like that. Which teams? I'll read out names. Do you think will have a roster change in or around the player break? Mouz.
Ooh. Nope.
How about we save this for the next episode in Dallas?
All right. Because I think Vitality and G2 will probably have roster changes. We'll talk about
G2
it later.
probably.
Because the internet is starting to lag a little bit more. I have food on the way. I've did
and
2
you
best of 3s today already.
All right.
I'm I still don't have my proper flight.
And that question is actually used for ESL content, so it makes sense that we would run it at an ESL event.
Wait, what?
At those roundtables, they always have the players say how many roster changes is this team going to have this year, and the players hold up a number.
All right. Let's go.
Yep.
Goodbye,
all right. Hey,
everybody.
Great chat, guys. This is a strong ending. I think it was our best yet. Everyone have a good night. Yanko, enjoy your food. Chad,
bye.
Don't fucking disappear and go on HLTV forums. I'll fucking end you.
Bye, everybody.